Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalam ala Sayyidina Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. Lillahi ta'ala. All right, so now we've reached the section on An-Nakiratu wal-Ma'rifah. Uh, Indefinite and definite. So the author says in his original text, Faslun al-ismul darban, section, the noun is of two types. And that's what they said here. Types of nouns, indefinite and definite. A noun is one of two types. Okay. Nakira وهو ما شاع في جنس موجود كرجل أو مقدر كشمس. Indefinite, nakira, and definite, ma'rifa. So that's not what he said. He didn't say both of them. He said one of them, nakira, and then he defined it. And then he said ma'rifa, and then he gave it its categories. So this right here, a noun is one of two types. That's fine. Indefinite, okay, but when he says and definite, no, that's not there in the Arabic. Indefinite nouns belong to a class that is either extant, such as rajulun, man, or implicit, muqaddar, such as shamsun, sun. And that's their choice of words there. So, nakira, indefinite. First of all, there's two ways that you can elaborate on categories of things. One is to list them all together first, name all your categories first, and then go back to the first one and explain, and then to the next one and explain. Another way is to have in mind categories that you want, but without listing all of them together, you just say the first one and explain, then the second one and explain. So that's what Ibn Hisham did. He said, Al-ismu darban, the noun is two categories. Nakira, he gave the first one, and he defined it before going to the second one. But in their translation, they did it like Ibn Hisham did it the first way. Nakira and Marifa. He listed all of what he wants to present and then went back to the first one. So that's not what happened there. So that's one thing. So indefinite nouns belong to a class that is either extant, such as rajulun, or implicit, such as shams. So I feel like doesn't really say very well what Ibn Hisham's saying. Maybe that's my own shortcoming. But Ibn Hisham is saying, وَهُوَ مَا شَاعَ فِي جِنْسٍ مَوْجُودٍ. A nakira is what is spread. So maybe that's what they meant by class. It is what is spread. That means not unique to one thing. Sha'a, like a rumor. A rumor gets yusha' gets spread, distributed. So nakira is a noun that is spread, and here this is also another place where we want to point out that the noun in Arabic means name. It's a name that is spread. A nakira is a name of something shared between members. So that's the word class there. Fi jinsin mawjood. in, it says a class that is either extant. So no, the English translation is lacking here. It is spread in an existing type. So jins is class here. Type, kind, class, they said. Jinsin mojud, they said class that is extant. So then, wahuwa ma sha'a, that means they translated it as indefinite nouns belong to, so that's not a good translation there. That lacks the point that he's trying to impart on us, which is that it's a shared name, sha'a, one name that is used for all the members. So that's what I say. Wallahu a'lam, as far as critiquing this translation here. To a class that is either extant, fi jinsin mawjud, ka rajul, like rajul. Now, how is it ka rajulin? Ka rajulin with a kasra. Ka rajulin. أو مقدر كشمس. There's no reason to say كرجل like they translated it there. But that's a result of avoiding the Arabic words and transliterating or transcribing them instead. So it should be such as rajulin, man. Al muqaddar, it says, or implicit. Maybe implicit works here. Kashams, such as shamsin. Kashamsin, such as shams. Sun. And what that means is, muqaddar here means suppose. I would say it means supposed or supposed. It is the nakira, the indefinite, is what is spread, yani shared between the members of an existing kind. Like rajul. So every pubescent male human is called rajul. Is named, he has a name, rajul. Or muqaddar, or it's a name that's shared between the supposed members of a kind. And that's going to be in the event that there's only one of a kind. One of a kind. Kashams, like the sun, or like shams. So you say shamsin, and likewise kamar, and shams has plural, shumus, but there's only one. This thing that Allah created is one of a kind, literally, and also the qamar, the moon. Ibn Hisham says in the explanation of QaTr An-Nadaa that the shams is kawkabun nahari, a daytime planet. One might say star, a daytime star. Maybe, but I like to use the word planet here in observation of, or in observance of, older terminology. So, like they used to say that all these things in the sky that we see, sun, moon, stars, all of those are the planets in older terms. Now in modern science, they say, no, planet means something in particular. Star means something in particular. And moon is what we call a satellite. That's what they say. And they say every star is a sun. The sun is merely a star among other stars. It's the closest one to us, therefore shows up for us in the daytime. And the other stars, they are suns of their own solar systems, they say. And they say, and the planets, they have their own moons. Any planet might have numerous moons. So all of that is not from Islam. It's not from the Muslims. Any Muslims who adopt this, they didn't adopt it from their own Muslim heritage. They took it from non-Muslim heritage. Rather, we say like what Ibn Hisham says here. And Ibn Hisham, yani, nobody refuted him for his statement here. There's one sun, and therefore the sun is not a star. And when he said that Ash-Shamsu Kawkabun Nahari, it's a daytime Kawkab, then if you mean star by Kawkab, then it's a majaz, because the sun is not a star. Or he means, when he says Kawkab, he means like an older usage of the word planets. That, as far as I can tell, still in usage by magicians. The magicians who look into the stars, and maybe also the astrologers, right? Astrology. Maybe them too, they refer to these things as planets. And what's similar to that, sorry to go too far off of the point here, what's similar to that is the old usage of the word atom. Nowadays, they use atom in a way that's not the classical usage. Classical usage being like the way we say Johar Fard, indivisible particle. Okay, back to the book here. So, yeah, I mean, that really was necessary talk to explain here what Ibn Hisham's saying with some extra benefits. Because there's a question, if there's only one sun, then what's the point of being able to produce an indefinite noun for it? The answer is that producing an indefinite noun for this thing that's one of a kind is out of supposing that there were others. Yes. And like that is the word ilah, but we're not going to say that Allah is one of a kind. We're just going to say Allah is one. And the word ilah is indefinite, ilahun. And the plural is aliha, when in reality there is not more than one God. Then Ibn Hisham said, wa ma'rifah, and indefinite.
Ustad,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Isn't there an ayah that mentions, or maybe more than one ayah, I'm sure, but it mentions saying that something to the effect that those who you worship, or the gods, lowercase and s at the end, alihatun, as if I remember, and it says alihatun or something to that effect. I'm trying to remember the ayah.
Yeah, the word aliha came in the Quran.
No, of course, not referring to Allah, but referring to that which is worshipped other than Allah, but who they classified as, I just want to say.
Yeah, just like how when Musa said, Unzur ila ilahik, about the calf.
No.
Yeah, it means in your claim. Look at your God. I mean, what you have taken as a God unrightfully.
No.
So then he says, wa ma'rifah, and indefinite. Wa hiya sitta. And they are six, or one might say, which are six? They translated it, definite nouns are one of six types. Okay, that's fine enough. الضمير وهو ما دل على متكلم أو مخاطب أو غائب. Then they put a subtitle. That's fine. That's normal. Definite nouns. Roman numeral 1. Personal pronouns. They said a personal pronoun, ad-damir, refers to the first, second, or third person. متكلم, مخاطب, or غائب. Uh, Now, for them to say personal pronoun here, it means for me they're setting up to call other things also pronoun. We're going to see then what they're going to call ism ishara, demonstrative pronoun, and al-ismul mawsul, relative pronoun. We'll see. Because in Arabic, they're not pronouns. They are something else.
Yeah, he mentions, looking ahead, he mentions demonstrative. He uses the term demonstrative pronouns in line with, I think, what the Arabist or the Orientalist in the past have used. I think that's the term he used.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah.
So I have issue with that because I say this is going to cripple the learner. Yeah, and he's going to be able to speak Arabic, but he's not going to have perfect comprehension of the Arabic language because of something that's impure there, because of an impure presentation. So, in reality, there's no need for the word personal here. Just the word pronoun is enough. الضمير وهو ما دل على متكلم أو مخاطب أو غائب. And then also, yeah. So he's translating according to English terminologies. Refers to first, second, or third person. I suppose that works. Yani, if you study grammar, then it's clear. It's not unclear. But just I feel like lacks something that's appreciated from the Arabic. Al-mutakallim, the speaker, that has very clear, frank, straightforward meaning. أو مخاطب, or addressee, the one spoken to. أو غائب, or the absent one, means the one not being spoken to, the one you're not talking to, even if you were present. Hmm. And for me, learning Arabic, it enhanced my comprehension of these issues by their terminology. To look at it from that way, Yani, I found that it makes me curious, really intrigued to learn other languages if I could, just to see the perspective. When you learn a language and you see, like, how do the people, or how does this language express? What perspective, Yani, when you look at one thing from the perspective of different languages, and then enhance your comprehension about that one thing. Yani, for example, so those worms in the ground, we call them earthworms because they live in the ground. And in Arabic, they call them banatul matar, yani rain daughters, because they come out in the rain. So that's different perspective. One perspective make you look at it from the perspective of where they live in the ground. The other, name them according to when they come out. Subhanallah. طيب. It's minor though. My gripe here is a minor one, I think. It may be, they said, وهو إما مستتر كالمقدر وجوبا في نحو أقوم ونقوم أو جوازا في نحو زيد يقوم. Concealed, mustatir, such as when it is necessarily implicit, مقدر وجوبا, like أقوم ونقوم. Yes, that's fine. but they have a twice here. So this is definitely a rough draft. It is optionally implicit muqaddar jawazan like Zaydun yaqumu. Okay. Yani maybe it's not a rough draft according to them, whoever published this. Maybe for them this is fine. Because there are publishers who are very sloppy. And we have seen books that are very, very horrible. Publishers, I mean, not yani the books, yes, but because of the publishers. In particular, I don't know if they've improved, but there's a publisher. There is a publisher in Lebanon who's the biggest publisher, at least was, as far as I know. I haven't looked into this for 20 years now. Darul Kutub al-Ilmiyah. Darul Kutub al-Ilmiyah. Oh, their books are horrendous, famously horrendous. Dr. Kamal Hoot told us that in some of those book publishing places, what they do, he said, if they read the file twice, they feel like they did you a service. And you would go in there and you'll find them playing cards. So it says, it may be concealed, such as when it is necessarily implicit, like akumu and nakumu, or it is optionally implicit, muqaddar jawazan, like zaydun yakumu. Yes, okay, that translation is not bad. What does it mean though? To be muqaddar wujuban means it is not valid for a non-pronoun to fill the slot of the verb. It yani the doer of the verb. It is not valid, or the subject of the verb, if you want, so that we can include the passive voice too. It's going to be muqaddar wujuban when a non-pronoun cannot be the subject of the verb. When only a pronoun can be the subject of the verb, then it's muqaddar wujuban. Such as akumu wa nakumu. And then, yeah, so let's take a quick look here. So we have here, when you say akumu, there's no way you can put any non-pronoun there. The only thing that fits there is ana, nothing more. And even that ana that's there, you don't have to say it. You don't have to say that ana that's there. You can just say akumu, and that's it. If you were to say ana, you will just be emphasizing the pronoun that's built in. So when you say, if you do the i'rab of akumu, you say akumu fi'lun mudari'un marfu' wa alamatu raf'ihi dhammah wal fa'il damirun mustatirun wujuba. And the doer is a concealed pronoun, and necessarily concealed pronoun. Taqdiruhu ana. Its implication is ana. And same thing for nakumu. Nothing can fit there but nahnu. And you're not even having to say nahnu here. So that's damir mustatir wujuba. As opposed to, he gave us an example. Zaydun yaqumu. Zaydun yaqumu. Yaqumu Which pronoun, if we were to put a pronoun there, which pronoun would fit there? It would be huwa. Yakumu huwa. Zaydun yakumu huwa. But it is possible to put anything else there, such as Zaydun yakumu abuhu. Zayd, his father is standing. So when it became possible for a non-pronoun to be the subject of that verb, then the veiled pronoun, if there were a veiled pronoun, then it's going to be ضمير مستتر جوازا, permissibly or optionally veiled. So if you say basically anytime the doer or the subject of the verb is huwa or hiya, huwa or hiya, those are the ones that can be replaced by a non-pronoun. So when you say yakumu, you could say yakumu al-fil. You don't have to say huwa. Or you could say yakumu al-amru. That's abstract. The amr. Yakumu al-amr. The issue stood. So that's abstract. So, or you could say, for example, yakumu al-jaysh. The army stood, for example. And anything else I can think of, I can put there. So, if you were to say yakumu, merely yakumu, the taqdir is huwa. If you were to say merely yakumu, then the i'rab is yakumu fi'lun mudari'un marfu' wa alamatu raf'ihi dhammah wal fa'ilu dhamirun mustatirun jawaza. The doer is a permissibly or optionally concealed pronoun. Taqdiruhu hu, its implication is huwa. Same thing for hiya. You say takumu Hind, that alone right there. Hind, that's a non-pronoun. Yakumu Zayd, that's a non-pronoun. Called dhahir. Non-pronoun is called dhahir. You have two types, mudmar and dhahir. Mudmar means pronoun. Dhahir means non-pronoun. Whereas if you say akumu, you have no option here but ana. Nakumu has no option but nahnu. And if you were to say, for example, yakumun, then it's not even a damir mustatir because the waw is the pronoun. Do you have any question here?
No, not there. Jazakumullah khairan.
Ameen wa iyyakum. So, they said in the translation, concealed mustatir, such as when it is necessarily implicit, yes, like akumu and nakumu, or it is optionally implicit, muqaddar jawazan, like zaydun yakumu, yes. The translation is fine. Oh, baris, they said, or prominent baris. Baris means zahir, apparent, appearing. So prominent's not a bad translation. I actually like it. Prominent. Baris, yani, appearing. وهو إما متصل كتاء قمت وكاف أكرمك وهاء غلامه أو منفصل كأنا وأنت كأنا وأنت وهو وإياي. Okay. Prominent, which is either connected متصل, such as the ta of kumtu, the final kaf of akramak, and the ha of غلامه, although in the Arabic is majroor, غلامه. So it would have been better just to put the Arabic without even any transcription. Like we said, if you can't read Arabic, you can't even deal with this book anyway. Or disconnected munfasil, like ana, anta, huwa, and iyai. Okay. Translation is fine here. So he said, "O barizun wa huwa imma muttasil kata'i kumtu wa kafi akramaka wa ha'u ghulamihi o munfasil." So what we have here, الضمير is, he told us, mustatir or bariz. Mustatir, concealed. Bariz, prominent or appearing. Mustatir is going to be jawazan or wujuban. And bariz is going to be either muttasil or munfasil. Connected or disconnected. Attached or detached. Yani suffixed or detached. Muttasil here is suffixed. And so, examples he gave us. He said, like the ta of kumtu and the kaf of akramak and the ha of ghulamihi. Let's look there first. So the ta of kumtu, that's damirun muttasil. You say kumtu fi'lun madin. وَالتاء ضمير متصل. The ta is a suffixed pronoun مبني على الضم, built with a dam. في محل رفع, in the nominative slot. أكرمك, this kaf is مفعول به. Yani we want to look at his point for giving us various pronouns. Is there anything different about them so that motivates him to give us more than one? Or is he merely being repetitive and he could have sufficed with one example? So he could have sufficed with one example because it would be true. Muttasil, damir muttasil. But because it has different cases, he gave us different examples to expand our knowledge here. Akramaka, kaf, akramak is maf'ul bihi. He honored you. He was hospitable to you. So you say akram fi'lun madin wal kafu damirun muttasil. The kaf is a suffixed pronoun mabniyun ala fatih, built with a fatih. Fi mahalli nasub, in the accusative slot. And he said, and ha'i ghulamihi, the ha of ghulam, of ghulamihi, the ha of ghulamihi. And And this ha is ضمير متصل, suffixed pronoun, مبني على كسر. It's built with a kasr. According to the author's example, we're lifting it and citing it exactly as the author said, unlike the translator did. مبني على كسر في محل جر, in the genitive slot, مضاف إليه, because it's مضاف إليه. So then he basically just told us this ضمير متصل could be مرفوع or mansub or majrur. Not literally, though, really, in a literal sense, it's in the mahal rafa, mahal nasb, mahal jar, but the scholars do say easier words and they summarize here, and they would say, but it would be figurative. ضمير مرفوع, ضمير منصوب, ضمير مجرور. And he said, or it could be munfasil, like ana, wa anta, wa huwa, wa iyai. Here he gave us 4 examples. Why? Because in 3 of these examples, you have the speaker, the spoken to, and the spoken about. So all 3 are represented here. None of those categories has been neglected in his examples. But also, there's another kind of damir munfasil, which is the mansub one. So there's 2 kinds. Damir munfasil can be marfu' or mansub, never majroor, never majroor. So damir muttasil can be marfu' or mansub or majroor. Damir munfasil can only be marfu' or mansub, cannot be majroor. And an example of the mansub that you know is the saying of Allah Ta'ala, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. You we worship. So إِيَّاكَ. Maybe in older English that's ye. Ye we worship. So the meaning is we worship you. Now, chapter of Damir in Arabic is big. A lot of details. Yani, I feel inclined to tell you so much, but I think I should probably hold back. Let's get back to the book here. He says, ولا فصل مع إمكان الوصل إلا في نحو الهاء في سلنيه وبمرجوحية كظننتكه وكنته برجحان. Let's see how they did here. A disconnected personal pronoun, so let's just say it's pronoun merely. A disconnected pronoun may not be used whenever a connected pronoun is acceptable. Yeah. Acceptable? Okay. They said acceptable. Ibn Hisham said imkan, possible. ولا فصل مع إمكان الوصل. There is no separation with the possibility of connection. So it means you do not produce the disconnected pronoun when you are able to bring the connected pronoun. Meaning, you don't say, for example, you don't say na'budu iyaka. That's blunder. Because you're able to say na'buduka. Na'buduka. So you don't say na'budu iyaka. So then someone might wonder, okay, then why do we say iyyaka na'budu? Answer is because you are unable to start with this kaf. You can't say kana'bud, putting the kaf in the beginning. You can't say kana'bud, you we worship. So that's a blunder. Rather, you would say iyyaka na'bud, you we worship. One of the functions of the disconnected pronouns is starting with them, to use them for commencement. Cannot commence with a suffixed pronoun because it connects to the back of the word only. So Arabic then has a set of pronouns that you can use to start with, other than those that are suffixed. Some scholars said that the origin of all of this, though, is the suffixed ones. The suffixed are the fundamental pronouns, and the disconnected ones are the derivative ones. Because the suffixed ones are briefer. And that brevity is actually the point of a pronoun. The pronoun basically enables you to save your breath, as they say. I mean, in terms of talking, you tell a person, save your breath, stop talking, talk less. Pronoun enables you to save your breath. So since pronoun is, its function is to summarize your talk for you, then when we found one of these two groups of pronouns more summarized than the other, then we knew that that one was the original set. So they said a disconnected pronoun may not be used whenever a connected pronoun is possible. Well, they said acceptable. Except in the likes of salnihi, ask me it. Ask me it. So me is a pronoun, it is a pronoun. Ask me it. If you want a more refined translation, you might say something like, ask it of me. But I just want to bring out what's in the Arabic as much as I can here. Salnihi, ask me it. Illa fi nahwi al-ha. So what did he say in the Arabic? Except fi nahwi al-ha. Here, fi nahwi al-ha, that's missing from the translation. They said salnihi, in which case disconnecting the pronoun is suboptimal. Bimarjuhiyah. Suboptimal. Okay, that's not a bad word there. It's outweighed. To detach the ha is outweighed. If you did detach the ha, you'd say salni iyah. Salni iyahu. If you did detach it. Salni iyah. Excuse me. And dhanantukahu. They have a mistake here. Looks like the beginning of the word got cut off. It says anantukahu, so maybe they're using DH like we do, or maybe something else. ظننتكه. First letter's missing there. ظننتكه. Uh, I thought you were him. I thought you him. I thought you him. وكنته. I was him. I was him. كنته. برجحان. With preponderance. In which case, disconnecting the pronoun is optimal. That's nice translation. That optimal and suboptimal, I like that. This case is a case that requires good study. So we won't stop here to break that down any further. And now he wants to go to the next section. He started, rahimahullah, with the pronoun. Because he's taking the saying that pronoun is a'raful ma'arif, most definite of definite words. That's not to deny, though, that lafzul jalala is a'raful ma'arif, the most definite of definite words. The name of God, Allah. Because that's absolute. When you say lafzul jalalati a'raful ma'arif, God's name is the most definite of definite words, that's absolute. And if you say ad-damiru a'raful ma'arif, the pronoun is the most definite of definite words, this means the category of out of the categories of definite words. This category is the most definite. Any question?
No. A few questions.
Yes.
One is away from the subject, but the first one, when you mentioned the word ilahun, so in the verse, لو كان هؤلاء آلهة ما وردوها. In this verse, does it show that in expressing the word God in plural, that we can use that with the proper understanding? Those were his gods, to say, or that was his God, they say, meaning that is what he worshiped, or that is who they worship.
Yes.
Can we? Okay.
There's examples of such concept of what you're asking me, other than using the word ilah. Yani saying something under the guise of someone else's claim, like khalidina fiha ma damati samawati wal ard, or ma damati samawat. Actually, I need to review the ayah now. It looks like the ayah is saying they will be there forever as long as the heavens remain. But we know heavens doesn't remain. It's going to be destroyed. But was an old Arab belief that the heavens remain? They thought it's not going to go anywhere. So the meaning is they will be in there forever, just like you think that the sky will be there forever. And some other things like that.
MashaAllah. The other, Jazakumullah khairan.
I mean,
MashaAllah. I had another question about, it's away from this, kind of away from, it's away from the subject, but it's about the pronoun, how this author used the pronoun. And this is from that book I was asking about, Ghayatul Bayan.
Okay.
So in part of the text, they quoted Saifuddin al-Amidi. So it says, it says, وقال المتكلم سيف الدين. I'm trying to so it must be Saifuddin al-Amidi.
Yes.
ما نص ما يروى عن السلف من ألفاظ يوهم ظاهرها إثبات الجهة والمكان، فهو محمول على هذا الذي ذكرنا من من امتناعهم عن إجرائها على ظاهرها والإيمان بتنزيلها وتلاوة كل آية على ما ذكرنا عنهم. Well, he goes on, but my question here is that when he mentions this, when he mentions like the pronoun ha, like he says ما يروى عن السلف من ألفاظ يوهم ظاهرها, and then he mentions again, he goes down and then he says عن إجرائها, and then على ظواهرها. So here, where does this pronoun ha, this feminine pronoun, what is it referring back to?
What's how did you start?
Let me read. I'm sorry. I know my reading is not perfect, so it's hard to follow me sometimes. وما يروى عن السلف من ألفاظ يوهم ظاهرها.
Al-Falth goes back to Al-Falth.
Oh, okay. And so now, when he says إثبات الجهة والمكان فهو محمول على هذه الذي ذكرنا من من امتناعهم عن إجرائها. So this ha again goes back to al-fal.
Yes.
Okay, and على ظاهرها, and that goes back to al-fal.
Yes.
Okay, okay. And wal-iman, and then you go wal-imani بتنزيلها, and that goes back. Okay, all right. Jazakumullah khairan. I wasn't.
Yeah.
So this word al-falv is actually a feminine word then.
No, it's not feminine, but it's plural.
Oh, okay.
Plural of lafz.
Okay.
It's a plural thing that doesn't have knowledge, or plural that doesn't have a mind.
Now, okay, so the ha can refer to that which doesn't have a, which is the plural, which doesn't have a mind.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry to digress so far, but
No, that's mashallah.
you know, I remember that from long time ago. Now, as you say it, I remember it. It's amazing how if one doesn't practice like what he knows, and he tends to, it seems to go into recesses somewhere in his mind
Yes,
until
mashallah.
it's lit up again.